Physical media man, physical media man, physical media man. What'd you buy? Was it something good?
What's up, guys? Physical Media Man back here again for another Physical Media Man Monday video. I have the month of January movie reviews for you guys. Haven't done one of these in a while besides the 25 Days of Christmas and the 31 Days of Halloween or whatever that, 31 Days of Halloween I think it was called. I do have a lot of movies that I separated out that we watched that I didn't do a review on. If you're interested in that, let me know. And there'll be some here where I won't have the physical copy with me, so I'll let you know why and all that. So anyways, before I get started, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, leave feedback, do all that good stuff down below. I'll leave the links to my Instagram page, my Physical Media Man Store Instagram page, my Facebook page for the Physical Media Man / Physical Media Man Store, my Facebook page for non-media related items, the Hodgepodge Garage, my email, my eBay, my Twitter, and my Letterboxd account. So we started off the month with one I don't know where I put the DVD to. It was Small Soldiers. I had the DVD and I knew it was getting that Blu-ray release, so I kind of wanted to revisit and see if I'd be interested in it. It's directed by Joe Dante, the famous director. It's kind of like a more mature version of Toy Story somewhat. I really enjoyed it. Somebody's horn's going off. And after watching it, I pre-ordered the Blu-ray, which hasn't yet arrived. Kirsten Dunst and I can't remember the other guy's name, but he was in Everwood and some other stuff. They're the two main stars. The boy, his dad owns a toy store, and it's like not an action figure type of toy store, more of a learning type of toys and that type of thing. So they never get any cool things in that sell really well. But he finds out about these new toys that are sold. There's two groups, soldiers, and then I don't remember the name of the other group, but they are kind of like rivals. Well, the people that made the toy put in some chip that actually makes them come to life, and they actually try to fulfill their missions. So I really enjoyed it, and I'm definitely happy to pick up the Blu-ray. Next up, we watched Sonic the Hedgehog. Got this 4K during Black Friday because I heard it was good and it looked good, and it did look good. I did enjoy this one. Jim Carrey plays the bad guy. He is a like third party or for the government. He doesn't work specifically for the government. He's got his own company, so he makes these machines and stuff, and somehow he figures out that something very powerful has come to the earth, and I don't remember if he knows of Sonic before or not, but he wants to get Sonic's power for his machines. And Sonic has these rings that he can throw and then like run into, and then he switches to a different world. And James Marsden, who I usually really like, he's a cop that kind of helps him. Yeah, I enjoyed this one. I'm giving it a B. I also gave Small Soldiers a B if I didn't say that. Next up, I don't know where I put the Blu-ray case for it, but we watched Hustlers with Jennifer Lopez, based on a true story of some exotic dancers, strippers that they were doing very well, and then the Wall Street crash happened, and all the Wall Street people that worked on Wall Street weren't coming to the strip clubs anymore. So they get the idea to drug these people that they think have money, and then they try to use their credit card and that type of thing. Didn't like this one at all. I'm giving it a C-. Obviously, because of their actions, they're not supposed to be likable, but it just, I don't know, it wasn't that good. Next up, I watched The Self-Destruction of Ultimate Warrior. By the title, obviously, it's a very one-sided documentary. So yeah, it's basically some wrestlers bashing on him. So it somewhat goes into his origin and how he became the Ultimate Warrior and kind of his wrestling story, but not near as well as the other documentaries. And because of that, I'm going to give it a C-. But it was kind of interesting to see other wrestlers just say their real thoughts of the guy, or at least the bad things about him, I guess. Next up, I let my parents borrow. We watched Motherless Brooklyn, written and directed by Edward Norton and starring Edward Norton. Also, Bruce Willis and Alec Baldwin and a few other people. It's set in the 1950s. A very enjoyable noir film. I really like this one a lot. It's about Edward Norton. He works for like a private detective, and then something happens to someone he works with, and he's trying to figure out who did it and why. I won't go into too much detail because there's definitely spoilers involved with this one, but I really, really, really enjoyed it, and I'm going to give it an A. That same night, we also watched Instant Family with Rose Byrne and Mark Wahlberg. Usually enjoy Mark Wahlberg films, so pick this one up. Mark Wahlberg has a construction company, and Rose Byrne, can't remember what her occupation is. Anyways, they're in their late 30s probably, and someone they know adopts somebody, and it gives them the idea to be a foster parent. So they decide to do the same thing, and they end up fostering a whole family, three kids, all brothers and sisters. So it's just kind of them figuring out how to be a family and how to take care of them and that type of thing. Like this one a lot, giving it a B. Next up was one that we watched that a lot of people talked about when it was getting its release. I know Joe Martinez was super excited because this is one of his favorites, and I heard a lot of people excited about it because it only had a VHS release prior. So I went ahead and picked it up too because it seemed like something I would like. So we got Rad, the Vinegar Syndrome 4K release, and this is super 80s cheese. Really enjoyed it though. Before I even go in, I'm gonna say I'm giving it a C, just because of, I mean, it's cheesy, so it's not the greatest movie, but I had a lot of fun with it. I also want to get the soundtrack because the music was great in it, so I might have to do that. But it follows a kid who's getting ready to, I think he's getting ready to take his SATs and try to get into college. His dad's not in the picture, so single mother, and he's got a brother. So he's also working, but he has aspirations to be a professional BMX rider. And there's this big event that's coming to their town, so he kind of has the issue of should he try to do his SAT, or should he try to compete in this, because there's a way you could get into the actual race, and there's a big winnings and all that type of thing. This is a really, really fun 80s movie. It is getting a Mill Creek release, so if you weren't able to pick this up, and I know it was going for a lot there for a while, but I'm sure it's gone down some, but I'm going to hold on to this version. I really, really enjoyed it. So if you haven't watched this, I definitely suggest checking out the Mill Creek version, if nothing else. Next up, we watched The Way Back with Ben Affleck. I don't know if this is inspired by a true story or not. It follows Ben Affleck, who's a high school basketball star, and it's been quite a few years since then, and he has quite a few demons and troubles in his life. He is an alcoholic, and he's able to become the basketball coach for his alma mater high school team, and his performance in this is fantastic. I'm giving it a B. I know a lot of people said it's not really a sports movie, it's more of a movie about him, which I agree, but at the same time, it's almost like it's trying to be two different things, and because of that, I thought it kind of took away from it, because it seemed like they jumped quite a bit, and then all of a sudden something happened, and they didn't how did we get there type of thing. But his performance is great, and I'm going to give it a B because of that. Next up, we watched, I grabbed the wrong one. Long Shot with Charlize Theron and Seth Rogen. I really like Seth Rogen. I like Charlize as well. This follows Seth Rogen, who's a journalist who's just lost his job, and Charlize is a politician, and he starts. Well, they knew each other when they were younger, and they stumble across each other, and they get into each other's lives. He starts helping her write her speeches, and then she has higher aspirations than what she currently is as a politician. So she's a long shot for what she's trying to become. And good rom-com. Enjoyed this one quite a bit. Definitely will be holding on to it, giving it a B- though. Next up, we watched 21 Bridges with Chadwick Boseman and Sienna Miller. This follows at the beginning of the film, which is in the trailers. I kind of forgot when I had gotten this that Taylor Kitsch is in it, who I enjoy quite a bit. They are in a gunfight with police, so it picks up like after this, and a lot of policemen are dead, and these two fugitives are on the run, and Chadwick Boseman's the detective to try to figure out the story, or what happened. I won't go into too much detail. It is very predictable. Because of that, I'm giving it a C+. I like Chadwick Boseman in it. He was very good. Just this is so predictable and just a cookie cutter action cop crime movie. That's what I'm going to give it. And I enjoyed it though, but it's just kind of nothing great. Next up, we watched Multiplicity with Michael Keaton and Andy Mcdowell. Recently picked this one up from Family Video. Andy Mcdowell and Michael Keaton are married. He works for a construction company, and she's staying at home, I believe, at the beginning of the film. And his job's really taking too much away from his at-home life, and being a dad and being a husband and all that. So somehow he meets this person that's able to clone him. So I won't go into too much more detail than that. But it was very funny, a really enjoyable film. Liked this one a lot, giving it a B. Next up, we watched The Score with Robert De Niro and Edward Norton, as well as Angela Bassett and Marlon Brando. It's a heist film with Robert De Niro towards the end of his career, Edward Norton kind of just starting out. Robert De Niro usually does his jobs by himself, but this one requires multiple people. So they kind of don't get along type of thing, kind of different philosophies, that type of thing. Directed by Frank Oz as well, but phenomenal movie, giving it an A-. Next up, I don't have the case. We watched Proof with Gwyneth Paltrow, Anthony Hopkins, and Jake Gyllenhaal. Anthony Hopkins is a genius, but he also has some mental problems and should probably be in a mental institute or at least be supervised more than he is. He's just living at his home with his daughter Gwyneth Paltrow, who at the beginning of the movie you don't know if she has a lot of things in common with him or some things in common with him or nothing in common with him. And then Jake Gyllenhaal was one of Anthony Hopkins' students, and he wants to go through all of his things he has in notebooks written down and that type of thing, and see if he's close to a proof, which I guess is mathematical problem solve. I don't know how to say that, but it's like a mathematical equation that solves a bunch of things, and they call it proofs, or that's what they work on, the proofs. So that's what it's about, and it was pretty good. I'm going to give it a B. The acting was good, especially Gwyneth Paltrow. Next up, I revisited Be Kind, Rewind. Stars Jack Black, Mos Def, and Danny Glover. Everyone in this movie is very enjoyable. I'm a big Jack Black fan, and Mos Def's pretty good in this too. I feel like I've only seen him in about two things. This and 16 Blocks, which I also love 16 Blocks. I feel like that's an underrated film. I don't know if he's been in much more than that or not, but anyways, Danny Glover owns a video rental store, and he employs Mos Def, and then Jack Black's somewhat homeless, but he's always at the store, and Mos Def and him are friends. Something happens where it erases what's on the videotapes, so they shoot their own films or try to remake movies, and it's great, very fun. Giving that one a B. Next up, we watched Geostorm. Bought this because of Gerard Butler. I'm a fan of his. So in this movie, he is like he creates this machine type of thing that stops natural disasters from happening. But if something goes really wrong with it and they aren't able to stop these natural disasters, and a bunch of them happen at once, there's a geostorm. So something happens and there's something wrong with his machine, but he hasn't worked for it or for the government for quite some time. So it's about trying to stop this problem and stopping a geostorm from happening. It's not really a good movie, but it's fun. It's about what you would expect. I'll probably end up keeping it just because we had fun with it, and I'm a fan of Gerard Butler, and I have a collection of his, so giving it a C. Next up is another one I don't have the copy of. I sold, well, I'll let you know about that on the next one. So anyways, watched Rendition. This one stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Reese Witherspoon, Meryl Streep, and a couple other people. It's about Reese Witherspoon is pregnant and has a son with this Egyptian man. He is a chemical engineer, has a great job. He is overseas at the start of the film, and he tries to come back to the United States, and when he gets off the plane and into the airport, he gets kidnapped, basically. And Reese Witherspoon's picking him up for the airport, and he's nowhere to be found. So she tries to get in contact with people and the government and things to try to figure out what happened to him, because now it's been a few days and she still can't find him. So I won't go into too much more detail because you don't really know what's going to happen exactly, but liked it. Didn't love it, giving it a B-. Also, Meryl Streep's a politician of sorts in this one, or she works for the CIA type of thing, and she has a really weird, like, Kentucky accent in the film. Like, it's not that the accent's bad, it's like she's sometimes doing it, sometimes not, and it was just weird. I'm not the biggest fan of hers. Anyways, next up, I watched The Click Rules, a documentary about the Click, which if you aren't familiar with it, it's Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and X-Pac, and they're just real life friends, and they called themselves the Click. So I felt like this was very just put together. If you can see here on the back, this picture, that's from one of their Hall of Fame inductions. I'm not sure which one. I think Scott Hall's. His or Kevin Nash's probably. And a lot of that interview was like just from that almost. And because of that, this one's really lacking in my opinion compared to a lot of the WWE documentaries. A lot of them are very good. This was one of my least favorites. I'm giving it an F. I feel like the only thing that was interesting about it was that I didn't realize how much a lot of the other wrestlers didn't really care for these wrestlers and didn't get along with them. So I'll probably just keep it just because I like to have a lot of these documentary type things. And it does have matches on it. I don't know how. It does say Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon at WrestleMania 10. Shawn Michaels versus Diesel. Triple H versus X-Pac. So, after that, I watched another Jake Gyllenhaal one, Lovely and Amazing. It was not lovely and amazing. It was basically about a dysfunctional family. A mom, you don't know where the dad's at, I don't believe. She has two daughters, or two biological daughters, and they're in their like 30s or mid 20s. One of them makes art but really doesn't have a job because she's not selling the art. It's not like good art. And then the other one's trying to become an actress, or she is an actress, but she's just starting out type of thing. And it's just a weird, strange movie. The mom also has an adopted African American daughter that's like 10 or so ish. So it's just basically about the dysfunctional family. I don't know how else to explain it without going into too much more detail. I'm giving it a C. after that, we watched All the Money in the World with Christopher Plummer and Mark Wahlberg and Michelle Williams. Thought the acting was pretty good in this. I don't know why. I thought it was going to be a little better than it was. So Christopher Plummer is the richest man in the world. Michelle Williams is his daughter-in-law, and her son is kidnapped, and he kind of refuses to help her with the ransom and that type of thing. So the whole movie basically is her trying to get her son home, either from his help or not, or whatever she can do. I'm going to give it a B-, but that might be a little harsh. Some people might have liked this more than me. I just thought it was going to be better, so that could be why I gave it a B-. Next up, I watched My Stepmother Is an Alien, which stars Dan Aykroyd and Michelle Pfeiffer. Really had a fun time with this one. Another 80s film. I think it was 88 maybe. Cheesy. Some people. I was all in on this one once it started. I don't know why, but I had a lot of fun with it. Dan Aykroyd is a scientist, and he does something with lightning and stuff that I guess you would say he comes in contact with another universe, and they bring back, or then all of a sudden Michelle Pfeiffer shows up in a UFO and or a spaceship or whatever, and she trying to figure out how he did it, and she doesn't know how to act because she's not human and that type of thing. So there's a lot of funny moments, and she carries around a bag that has like an arm with instead of a hand, it's an eyeball, and it can talk and stuff, and it helps her with things she doesn't understand and that type of stuff. So but I had a lot of fun with it. I'm going to give it a B-. It might have not been the best movie, but I had a lot of fun with it. Then we also watched They Came Together, which is like a satire of romantic comedies. And for me, it was just too much. I did laugh quite a bit in this one, but I would never watch it again. I'll probably get rid of it. I do like Paul Rudd and Amy Poehler quite a bit, and there's a lot of funny comedians in this one besides them. There's a lot of laughs in this one, but it's basically talking about how they came together, but it's a ridiculous, over-the-top story. Just kind of lost. It was too much. I'm giving it a C. And lastly, we watched Bridget Jones's Baby, which picks up after Bridget Jones's, whatever the second one's called. I kind of forgot what was going on, so yeah, I don't know what to say without spoiling any one of the earlier films. Enjoyable, not as good as the first two. Missing an important character if you're not familiar with the other two. But I'm going to give it a B-. Still liked it. So that's everything we watched in the month of January. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you haven't yet done so, please make sure to subscribe. If you want to see more of these review videos, let me know. I'll try to continue to do them from month to month if I can. So a little different, and hopefully I'll improve along the way. So please make sure to like the video and subscribe. So this is Physical Media Man signing off. Physical Media will never die. Physical Media Man. Physical Media Man. Physical Media Man. Yeah!